Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, where I'm very happy to have an old friend who I haven't seen for a little while. Lori Meldauer joins us with the Park City Culinary Institute. Welcome back. Where have you been all my life?
Thank you, Joe.
You know, we have a kitchen here. You can come cook anytime.
That's tempting. Maybe we should.
Just saying. Okay. Just remember, I like your food.
We have to keep you well fed.
Yeah. Well, you're quite something in the kitchen, and not just you, but really everybody that comes to the Culinary Institute.
Yeah, we're lucky to have a really talented team of master chefs.
Yeah.
And more come on every day, which is nice too.
This, I was looking at some of the success stories of some of them, and it's amazing, like the different places they've ended up. Montage. Mm-hmm. You've had some go there. You've had some down to the Kai. Mm-hmm. Gosh, all over. Some really great restaurants and great, not only just restaurants, but huge culinary, what should we say, that kitchens.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, we actually have a sous chef at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse here in Park City.
Wow.
We have alumni at the St. Regis, Log Haven, down in the valley, Copper Onion.
Copper Onion.
Mm-hmm.
That's another really good one.
Yeah.
It's just neat because otherwise these people would probably not have those kind of opportunities. Those come from cutting your teeth in a kitchen, much like the one they're going to be in, but in that school sense of getting the education behind it. Absolutely.
I mean, we had a student before he came to our program apply to a restaurant, and he didn't get in until he did our program.
And then ends up with the same job he wanted all along.
And a promotion to sous chef.
Wow.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Worth it, totally.
Yeah. I mean, that's great because the pay comes with that too, which is amazing.
Incredible pay, and especially for someone who, in this case, hadn't gone to college. He's making more than a lot of recent college grads. That's awesome. After a 2-month training.
Yeah.
So that's a
totally
pretty cool
worthwhile
experience.
I've had the chance to come up there and cook a little bit alongside some of the students, and I was impressed. There were some students with some great skill already showing up, but I think that's a testament to the fact that you're going to teach them even more. And let's talk about some of the staff that are doing that. Who do you have on board now?
Well, our culinary director is Human Gahari, who's been with us since the beginning. He was a trainer for the Ritz-Carlton. Mm-hmm. And when he was at the Ritz-Carlton, opened up 16 restaurants in places like Osaka, Barcelona, Shanghai, and Dubai, training their staff. And getting a 3 Michelin star restaurant open, he's actually done that twice. Whoa. So he knows exactly what's involved to get to 3 Michelin stars, and the others have 1 and 2 Michelin stars. Yeah, it's a really hot.
It's very hot.
Hard thing to get, very hot. So he's our culinary director, Clement La. Mm-hmm. Who is the executive chef of Talisker, was executive chef at the Waldorf. According to Ted Scheffler from City Weekly, is one of the best chefs in the West. He's on our faculty. Rebecca Milliken, who is the executive pastry chef of Lakai before joining us.
She's wonderful.
She's amazing.
I have to say, as much as I love the main course, I sure love her desserts. Wow, that's tremendous to have her.
And Gregory Neville, who was not only best chef here, but also had one of the best Italian restaurants in the country. His restaurant, Lugano, he worked in California before coming to Utah. He's cooked for the James Beard Foundation several times. He's been on our faculty now for several years, and his food is incredible. His homemade pastas and his Northern Italian and Spanish cooking is just off the charts.
Oh, wow. That is a great group of people that are out there as faculty teaching these students how to not only how to cook and to prepare, but also just the tricks of the trade, the things that are gonna rise them to the top, and maybe get them set up with a Michelin 3-star. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
And a few home cooks who sneak in too, because a lot of our students, they cook at home, but they want to cook better at home, and they want those nuances of professional cooking for when they entertain.
Well, heck, I just like it when somebody does it for me.
Me too. I love when people cook for me.
It doesn't have to be for entertaining.
That's the best.
You just want to key to if you want to key to your man's stomach, or his heart, it's through his stomach, right?
True.
We all know that.
And through a woman's heart too.
I agree. And I like to fancy myself as fairly decent in the kitchen, which, does tend to improve things. Mm-hmm. It's a good thing. talk to me about that. You guys are open to lots of different types of students, including someone who is just looking to cook at home.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting is when you read the applications, 50% of our students, every class, and we've been in business now for 4 or 5 years, so this is many years of classes, over 100 graduates, and 50% of our students want to open their own business.
Wow, really?
Yes. And so when you think about that, especially Park City, and in fact, several of our students have, since graduating, started their own businesses, and a couple of people who already own businesses have done our program. And so it's a cool place to be, because you're mingling with these students who are really the movers and shakers of the restaurant industry in many ways.
And you bring some of them back in to talk to these students and to help them along. That's important.
Yeah, there's a lot of networking. The alumni get to meet each other. They just had a party at our new facility in Salt Lake and got to meet each other. And we're planning some quarterly parties so they can come back and see the chefs again, get a little continuing education, and meet the other alumni, because that's great for networking.
Oh, I'll say it is. Or for maybe finding a new person to partner up with for a new restaurant or something.
Or even getting a reservation at a restaurant that you can't get into that easily.
That's a good point too. You mentioned the Salt Lake location. We got to talk about that, because it's been since you were here last that you opened that new location. That really is a testament to what you guys have managed to do. Talk about this new location.
So we opened in Salt Lake City in January, and we were really lucky to find a building that actually was an ice skating rink. So it's this big, wide open brick building. You've got exposed brick and skylights, and we brought in the architect who worked on a number of cool restaurants, Benihana, River Horse, a bunch of really high-profile restaurants in Salt Lake City. He's one of the most prominent architects for restaurants and successful restaurants in town and in California. And so he did the design, and we got some custom stainless work done, and it's this beautiful open facility. By open, I mean just this giant space where you could have, dozens and dozens of people cooking together.
Right, and getting that instruction as they're cooking, which is a kind of a key part of this.
Absolutely, working in small, intimate groups with these chefs from some of the best restaurants in the country. So it's a cool space.
Now, the difference between you as the president owner of Park City Culinary Institute is compared to some of the other schools that someone might consider is pretty significant. And I think I want people to understand the difference. There are a lot of places you can go and learn to cook. You can go to the Salt Lake Community College and learn to cook.
Yes.
But when it comes to doing things the right way and doing them to that upper echelon level, this is where your skill and the people that you've brought in as faculty come into play. Talk about your background a little bit.
Thank you for bringing that up, because
it's valued for sure.
It's so important that people understand. I attended Cordon Bleu in Paris, and what's unique about the French system is they had third-generation master chefs teaching us. They had top-of-the-line ingredients, and they respected every detail of cooking. And when I came back to the United States and saw the culinary schools here, which up until recently were government-funded.
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, 90% of the money going to culinary schools came from Title IV funding, like Trump University.
Wow.
Culinary schools in the United States became a scam.
Yeah.
And that didn't get cut back until 2014. So the culinary schools here, they'd substitute lobster for shrimp. They'd bring in people who were 24 years old to teach 23-year-olds, and people with no experience, and they were providing a terrible education. And that's true of so many culinary schools. I don't want to name names, but it's just nearly across the board.
Yeah.
Luckily, the
Cordon Bleu, a lot of them saying that they're even Cordon Bleu. We have to talk about that.
Yes.
There are some, maybe in Vegas, that talk about that that aren't.
Yes, there was an American chain, like a McDonald's kind of culinary school chain, that licensed the name Cordon Bleu from the school I went to called Cordon Bleu in Paris. Luckily, they got shut down because when they shut down the government funding, there went their funding. So the Cordon Bleu chain had 16 schools that all shut down, which is a relief to me, because now that means there's an opportunity for quality culinary education in this country.
Oh,
so
that's great.
It's totally different what we're doing, that master chefs, the high-end ingredients, techniques that make sense, that people want to learn. Learning how to make croissants and New York bagels, and learning how to make beautiful, beautiful things, as opposed to food service where people are just learning how to process and use robotic ovens. Somebody came by the other day and they said, do you want to buy a combi oven? I was like, no, why would I want to have students come in to learn how to use a robot?
Yeah.
You know?
It makes no sense.
And my students were there when it happened, and they said, that's crazy. Why are they even pitching us? Because every other culinary school buys the combi ovens.
Right.
And all these ovens is you put in a piece of meat, you tell the oven it's roast beef, you tell the oven it's 5 pounds, and the oven cooks it for you. You go to culinary school to learn how to use a robot.
Oh my goodness.
So there is a big difference between what we do and what they do.
Well, I mean, I think of it right down to the most simple thing that you and I talked about once, which is the egg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's 1,000 ways to cook an egg, and to do it right, all those 1,000 ways, you've got to have the skill behind it. You've got to have the education behind it to take that wonderful little thing and do it right. And that is just the tiniest, smallest part of the wide vastness of food. And as we enter a time when people are starting to look for clean food, for real food, for real ingredients, for things that they understand, and for sourcing, these are all things that you're teaching, and that's the big difference.
Absolutely, and it's so important.
Well,
it really is.
I couldn't agree more, just because I've been there and I've tasted the food. I have personal experience. That's the other part of this too. There are real opportunities for these people to cook for people. There's chances for the public to even taste and find out. How do people get more involved with what you're doing?
Well, there's so many ways. I mean, by taking our program, we bring our alumni back.
Yep.
We have alumni who help with our events. We've done events for, numerous companies in town and from out of town and from out of the country.
Yeah, so you're always looking for new opportunities there. If you want to have some chefs that are kind of cutting their teeth and maybe do something a little unique, they come and do it for your company as a teaching experiment.
That's true too. Yeah, we're going to be hiring new teachers because of our expansion into Salt Lake. So if people are interested in sharing their craft, and if they have enough experience, and then we'd love to bring them on board.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, as always, I'm thrilled for you guys. Now, you have an open house coming up. Let's talk about that real quick.
Yes, and speaking of eggs, it's actually on eggs.
Is it really?
It is, yeah. Clement La is doing a special program this Saturday at 11 a.m. on eggs.
How about that?
The science behind using eggs and a bit of his French technique. And there's so many different things you can make with eggs. So he's actually making a variety of different dishes, all using an egg as a demonstration, just to show people what you can learn in culinary school, that you might be a great cook at home, but there's always more science, more technology, more ingredients, more techniques that you can add. And he's going to show you that there is a lot of potential to learn, even for experienced cooks, whether you're in the restaurant industry or at home.
I imagine that somewhere in there's something about poaching.
There could be.
Because that's important. And probably a meringue. Is there a meringue or something?
There could very well be a meringue.
All right. Those are important skills that so many people want and don't have, even in their own kitchen.
True.
That would be a great opportunity. So they can come to the open house and learn a little bit for free.
Yes, it's a free open house. It's at our new location in Salt Lake City, so you can come and see. It's such a beautiful facility. It just makes me so happy to be in the space. And everyone who walks in says the same thing. You just want to be in the space. It just feels good. So it's a great opportunity to come and feel the space.
Well, thank you so very much for inviting us all to check it out. It is the Park City Culinary Institute. Lori Moldauer and her team ready for some new students for this next season. They'll be bringing out some of the best chefs that will be joining so many restaurants here in Park City. So you know where all that good food starts? Right there at the Park City Culinary Institute. We'll be back with more right after this.